I'm still somewhere deep in upcountry Kenya, and I'm about to approach another super dead small town. It is some 40 or so meters from here. I don't know whether you can see some people at a distance. There's a small town there, and this one is quite popular. I'm sure you have heard it somewhere. What I'm not so sure about is whether you knew it was this small. To be precise on where I'm at, on my right, Laikipia County, and on my left, Nyandarua County. I think at this point a map will do. You can see right there. I will also be taking you to another small town around. And so after this, there will be another one. So stick around. But in the meantime, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. So make sure you subscribe. It is absolutely free, but means everything to us. I go by the name Mr. Lone Traveler, and my lonely adventure brought me to another lonely town. And this is a special one. I have been hearing about this small town since I was a kid. And I'm sure I was not alone, especially if you grew up around the Mount Kenya region. But I think the biggest undoing is thinking that it was a big town. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kiandege Shopping Center. I want to get right inside and see how the old town is faring. At least the front line seems lively. Probably the structures on my right is the food market. There's no one inside. The same is also the case on my left. No shop is open. Maybe I'm early. It's around 11 a.m. on a Friday, June 2025. There's a volleyball pitch right in the middle of the town. And this is one thing I have realized in most towns that I've visited around this area. It seems like volleyball is one of the biggest games here. And you can see the court is well used. There's no grass. And so probably boys always meet here after work every evening. There's another old building here, probably built in the 90s or 80s. No shop is open. I wonder how big these shops are. There's another one there. This one seems lonely, like Mr. Lone Traveler. Let me get closer. Oh, this one is a church. A small church for a small town. It is going by the name Glory World Outreach Church, Kiandege. Such a beautiful one. I honestly love the small town vibe. You know, these kind of towns where everyone knows everyone. Beautiful lands. So I want to go to the other side of the town and see how it is doing, whether it is lonely or not. So in the 80s and 90s, there was this musician who came from this town, and he made it very popular because he would mention it in every song. He was so patriotic to his hometown to a point that he added the town's name as his surname. This is the gentleman, goes by the name Wainaina wa Kiandege. He made a lot of secular hits back then. I'm sure most old-timers can recall him. I don't know whether he's still making the music, but I'm told in the 2000s he crossed over to the gospel industry and still went ahead to make some of the greatest hit music in gospel Kikuyu. You know, very few people manages to cross that line, so big up to the legend. This section of the town seems to be alive a bit, but only one shop is open. You can also see the building is very old. Just wondering how the towns looked like in the 80s. But I can see some new stones buildings. Seems like the town's future is quite bright. So the small town area has a total population of 2,454 people, a very small population, where men are only 1,192, which is 48.6%. Their female counterparts, of course, the majority, at 1,261, or basically 51.4% of the total population. Not a bad one. The gender distribution is almost equal. In terms of the population density, there are 206 people living in a square kilometer. So basically, there are no people here. Remember, a square kilometer is only 250 acres of land. And if you were to distribute these acres to the numbers of people living here, it means that everyone will have more than an acre. I can see investors are putting up new shops in town. Modern one. It seems like there's a shift from the wooden houses to the stone walled. I have also noted that there's electricity in town. And so the village town is making some good strides towards the future. Although the roads are not in a so good shape. And another thing that I have noted is that the entire town is one-sided, meaning that it is only in Laikipia County. So let's meet in our next town. Well, I'm approaching another small town, and this one is probably Nyandarua County. The boundary is somehow haywire in this side of the world. And this one is going by the name Doginino, Ndogino Shopping Center. What a name. Well, I can sense the name is Kikuyu, but probably the old Kikuyu because I can't get the meaning. But fortunately, I know we have some old timers here and also the locals. Kindly write to us on the comment section the meaning of the name Ndogino and we'll appreciate. So unlike the last we visited, this seems to be a bit big and a little bit busy. It has a bus terminus too, and that really got me. I don't want to talk about the roads because getting down here was a hectic business. Although some parts from the main road, that is the Nyahururu Nyeri Road, are tarmacked. The untarmacked section is hell on earth. But it seems like it is a project on progress, so maybe sometimes tarmac will get here. So probably Ndogino is the biggest town around this part of the world. This seems like a decent place. I want to give you land prices. Before I venture deeper into Laikipia County, I will also be giving you the numbers for the county in a few minutes. So I saw 3 acres of land on sale, and it was going for 1.2 million per acre. I also saw another half an acre on sale, and it was going for 600,000 Kenya shillings. Another half going for 550,000 Kenya shillings. And 2/4 of an acre definitely sold by 2 different people, going for 280,000 Kenya shillings each. From that, I'm sure you can get the rough estimate of how land cost here, meaning with around 1 million Kenya shillings, you can get an acre. Well, I'm not a real estate expert, but it is not ideal to buy a plot of land here. By that, I mean the small plots we buy in the city, like 40 by 80, maybe in these small towns, but if possible, from an eighth of an acre, which is a 50 by 100 onward, it can be a very great investment. So I'm venturing deep into Laikipia County, and I want to give you some few numbers so that you can understand the county better. So this is one of the biggest counties in the country in terms of the land mass, but the population is a bit low. According to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, the county has a total population of 561,223 people. with a population density of 58 people living in a square kilometer, and that is as of 2023. And going with the fact that the county has several towns with a lot of people, let's say Nyahururu town, there's another one called Nanyuki, 58 people in a square kilometer. That tells you that most part of the county are totally deserted, or maybe they are ranches. I'm not quite sure about that, but definitely we'll be getting deeper. We are just starting. In terms of the population growth, the population is growing at a rate of 2.1% per annum, which is also a bit low, but it is not surprising. Remember in 1979, the population was only 134,524 people. And you can see from 1979 up to now, which is some 45 years, the population has not hit a million mark. And it is not about to, since it is only past 500,000 mark. In terms of the urbanization, 75.4% of the total population here in Laikipia lives in villages. So this is a rural county. Only 24.6% lives in urban. I told you that Nyahururu and Nanyuki are some of the leading urban centers here in Laikipia County. I'll be taking you there very soon, maybe sooner than you expect. I'm sure you'll be surprised by how big these towns are. In terms of gender distribution, 270,906 are the males, forming the minority, which is about 48.3% of the total population. Females take the lead at 51.7% of the aggregate population. So not a bad place. I won't mind living here. Plus, I feel like the environment is quite nice. The weather is warm, not cold as I expected. Well, the only problem are roads, but I'm sure in the near future they'll be done. In terms of the age distribution, only 5% are aged 65 and above. Well, not so bad. This seems like an ideal place for old-timers. And in terms of religion, above 90% of people here are Christians. Well, let me leave it at that. And thank you so much for watching thus far. But please continue watching the scenic video until the end. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. Also like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible, and smash the notification bell so that every time we post, you will be among the first few people to be notified. Also keep the conversation going. Tell us what do you think about the two towns we visited, that is Kiandege and Ndogino and the entire Laikipia area. What do you think about these places? Would you consider living here? Does the land prices make sense? And if you come from this area, I think it will be nice if you leave a fact or two about your neighborhood. You can also check our sister channel, that is Kikuyu Traveling Media. That is especially if you understand that language. And so you can go there, watch some of our videos, and make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you.